welcome back to EU Contenders Trials. I'm your host, Gio, and I'm joined by my analysts, Nari and Lafon. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good, actually. We just got getting ready for this set, actually.
Yeah, well, we just watched British Hurricane take on Osh Tech Warriors, and now we're watching our second-seeded team versus our seventh, which is We Have Org and HSL Esports. Now, this is going to be the series of 40 chess, mind games. Both of these rosters have had a lot of changes in the last couple of weeks, which is going to make things pretty unpredictable. Nari, how do you think this is going to have an effect on the overall outcome of this game?
Well, as you said, I mean, both teams have had these changes, so I think it puts them in a uniquely similar position. If it were perhaps a team that had been together for the last 6 months versus a team that was relatively new, it might make a bigger impact. But the fact that they're both kind of in the same situation, added onto that the fact that a lot of the players that have been brought in to their respective teams have played with their respective teammates before. So there's still like a little bit of synergy there. And what I love to see is that HSL in particular, they're really focusing on the psychological well-being of their players. We know that a lot of their players are incredibly young. So they've got people there that are focused on just making sure that their psychological well-being is up to standard. Something else to take note of is WHO have shown a lot more flexibility individually. Which they can definitely bring to the fore for that if they decide to take that risk. You know, sometimes you want to stay with your staple heroes, the ones that you know particularly well, but the fact that they are able to swap as and when they need to could potentially put them in a good position should they need to make those swaps.
Now, Lafon, one of the nice things that we know about the new We Have Org is that it's kind of mostly made up of players who came from open division. They thought they'd missed their chance this time around. They'd have to wait another few months for their next opportunity. And now they've been given the chance to prove themselves. What is this going to mean for them?
I mean, it could mean everything, right? We talk about the tier 3 scene and how it means to move into tier 2 and hopefully above. So this is for them an opportunity to show themselves and to be those players that can make it, to be those tier 2 players and higher. Now, that is a double-edged sword because they haven't proven yet that they are tier 2 caliber, but they haven't proven yet that they can make it that far. So for them, this match especially, this first match, is that match where they have to put their exclamation point. We are capable of being here. We deserve to be here. This is a team, especially on We Have Org's side, we can be the ones to make it further. This is the litmus test for your team right now. So you have to come out swinging right out of the gates with a really good performance here today.
One of the really big shakeups that we saw on HSL is they've lost their in-game leader, Milky Man. He's gone over to play for Bazooka Puppies now. And so that's sort of left a little bit of a black hole. They've got German main tank Progi to take his place. They still have their main support, Askov, who did before help with a lot of the in-game leadership, and he is now their new kind of ultimate in-game leader and their team captain. But how long do we think this will kind of take for them to get used to, adapt to this new playstyle, and how much is it going to affect the playstyle that we've already seen from HSL come out?
Yeah, well, geez, an in-game leader, that's a really huge part of any composition. The person that leads you into battle, that leads the charge, that tells you what you need to be doing, where you need to be going, who you need to be focusing, who has ultimate, who doesn't have ultimate. It's such an important and integral role of any team. So for that big change to happen right before Contenders starts, it can be pretty damn insane. But they have brought in Progi as their new tank, which is pretty exciting for them, which could... You know, his experience on a much bigger stage could definitely be a little bit of a feather in their cap. Something to also note for WHO is they have Kara, who has always been the shot caller for the old operation. Sorry, not operation. For
You said Dopamine.
Thank you, Dopamine. So having him on their team now as well could also be a bit of a feather in their own cap. So the importance of an in-game leader is absolutely massive, and I think that with the limited amount of time that they've had to practice with their new in-game leaders, it could be a little bit of an issue for them. But the fact that once again both teams have the same problem, it could balance itself out.
HSL, they went 10-0 in the Open Division main season, and that had meant that there were a lot of eyes on really looking out for some great things. Do we think they can bring back their former dominance to take on We Have Org?
It's a strange thing here from HSL, right? This is a team we had huge expectations from early on. They kind of falter towards the end of Open Division, but if they need it, this is the chance to prove it. We Have Org is going to be their best opportunity.
All right, well, let's throw it over to our casters, Kenobi and Rapture, to see how this goes.
What's up, Overwatchers? Welcome back. This is match 2 of today's broadcast of EU Contenders Trials Season 3 2018. It's HSL Esports versus We Have Org, and I'm Rapture here with Kenobi to bring you the first map, which will be Ilios. Kenobi, you ready to get into this one?
Definitely ready to get into this one. The desk covered these two teams both well. Probably going to be seeing a lot of scrappiness coming from these both teams. I mean, We Have Org has prided themselves kind of on this idea that they're the 5th Open Division team. So I can't wait to see how these two teams stack up against each other in this first map. It looks like we're going to be seeing some GOATs comp, some just standard GOATs coming out from HSL, while on the other side, we're going to be seeing Dive with the Doomfist Sombra Raptures. So definitely a lot of disruption coming from that Sombra hack and that Doomfist abilities to, disrupt a little bit what HSL is bringing to the table here.
Yeah, currently We Have Org, technically the Contenders bottom 4 team, HSL Open Division top 4, and these are all players and teams they come from that if you've been following EU Tier 3 Overwatch for 2018, you recognize a lot of these players, a lot of the teams they come from. Dopamine, Elotic, Augmented Authority, Bazooka Puppies, Wind and Rain. All these teams represented right here in this matchup as we're going to get the first cab. Look at us going to go towards We Have Org, which are bolstered by the Sombra pick by IDXD. Kara with the right click though, and now they're going to stagger the remainder of HSL Esports and grab this first point.
Yeah, that was a great dive originally onto from We Have Org onto that Diva. They right at the start of the fight, and then they were able to you were in the war of attrition, something you don't see often with two GOATs, but with the damage coming out from Zergy and IDXD, they were able to push back HLS Esports, and now Zergy has his Doomfist ability and the EMP very, very close for IDXD, and EMP against GOATs. That's one of the best counters to it, Rapture.
Yeah, We Have Org certainly sitting in a good position here with the ultimate advantage. Hedon just got the Moira Coalescence that they could use to keep We Have Org at bay, but they don't have the damage-dealing ultimates they have to keep Zergy and Midna at bay. It's a 6v4 advantage for We Have Org, and there's a nano boost on that Doomfist. Zergy gets another one. Kara gets on the board as well, and HSL Esports forced to reset.
That dive is so clean again coming out from We Have Org. I mean, you mentioned Hedon had that Coalescence, but was dove on almost immediately and couldn't get it up in time. And Coalescence, one of those things you need to keep GOATs alive in these team fights. And We Have Org already at 50%. HLS Esports not getting those ultimates very quickly, but they're going to have the Graviton and the Coalescence for this next fight. So definitely look out for that. But again, IDXD keeping that EMP just for a case, like right now.
Oh, and it's in a combo with the self-destruct, and Sharp will slip it right in. Sardis and Tex36 also losing their mech there, so 1.5. Sharp getting more kills, body blocking and shoulder checking the rest of HSL Esports away. And again, another very definitive win there for We Have Org as they move to 75% now.
EMP and self-destruct, a tale as old as time. You get that EMP out, they can't block any of the damage, and then the self-destruct just finishes up the kills. And with 80% left, this is their last chance. They grab, and this shatter has to be absolutely huge for HSL here if they want to take any points from this map.
And here's the thing, I mean, HSL Esports has been behind in ultimates this entire game, so it's a huge advantage for We Have Org before things even get started. A Graviton from Zik, though, going to keep that Primal Raging Midna at bay, but not for too long. And again, We Have Org finding the kills and the picks super early, and Midna just running rampage over HSL Esports. Tech36 will get one. Zergy will sacrifice themselves. It's certainly worth it, Kenobi, as a very, very definitive win here for We Have Org, taking the first point on Ilios.
Very clean dive coming out from We Have Org, and I was thinking about it earlier when we were talking about the story meeting, how are these two teams going to play? Are they going to play more safer tank-heavy comps? But We Have Org there just run a Doomfist Sombra dive with Midna and with Shampy on that Diva, and they were just getting them off the map all the time. Kara, absolutely huge play on that Lucio, getting those environmental kills. And when you get one of those kills basically for free off of someone in that GOATS composition, GOATS comp, you lose a lot of that value, especially if it's a main tank or a healer. So you lose so much value getting those boops, and they were really using their environmental kills to their advantage for We Have Org. And now HLS Esports going to be sticking to 3-3 composition. Actually, they're just going to be going quad tank. This is old EU right here. This is the classic EU Rapture.
And by the way, folks, we are aware of the audio issues, so we'll be getting those fixed if they're not fixed yet. So bear with us as we move into Ruins. Round 2 here. We have Org getting onto the point first. HSL Esports going to go for the high ground, but then jumping right in behind Askov on that Reinhardt. Meanwhile, IDXD looking for the Widowmaker here, looking for picks alongside the Sombra. So they're babysat just a little bit. Askov will find one Conga and a sleep, keeping that Diva at bay for just a moment. But HSL Esports does have a slight advantage. They're trying to push, and We Have Org. Oh, but they lost Zik, though, so it's 5v5. Now We Have Org with the high ground advantage, but Zergy goes down to Sardis, who's now trolling around, and Roman looking for some more kills in this Roadhog, finds some area behind the Reinhardt shield, looks for IDXD. They're not going to give him up any more ult charge, and HSL Esports gets that first completion here, Kenobi.
And that's really the power of Quad Tank. At the start of the fight there, HSL just ran into the back line and just jumped on Conga. Conga only has one sleep, and that's not even enough to stop the rest of the three tanks coming at you. So great job from HSL, playing to their strengths of their composition here, playing super aggressive because there's not a lot of damage from We Have Org at the moment to deal with this.
Oh, and Zergy's anticipating that, goes in, stopping the Roadhog from getting a good hook, but Hedon will find Coalescence kill on the Conga. 6v5 situation. Zergy goes below 50 HP, has to get out of the fight there, so can't keep supporting the team. Makar picks up the slack. Now the D.Va running right in there, and it's going to be Sean trying to put some more pressure on, but again, Hedon getting kills like a DPS character out here on this Moira, and repelling We Have Org for another fight now, 51% here for HSL Esports.
Yeah, Hedon showing up in the kill feed like the Moiras in my plat games usually do. With that Moira, just that right click doing a lot of good damage with those orbs as well. And HLS Esports really have a lot of good positioning right now, 62%. And with some ultimates still available to them, they're going to have the Graviton very soon. And We Have Org only has mids as Primal Rage for this next fight.
Yeah, definitely Zik and Tech going to be looking to combo their ultimates once they get thrown down. Minda, though, trying to find some way to separate HSL Esports away from each other, using the Primal Rage, but unable to do so. Self-destruct will find Zergy on the Doomfist, and now HSL knows that they can be more aggressive. They're not going to be knocked back by the Doomfist. Minda trying to harass in the back line, but it's Askov who finds the kill on their tank character, Reinhardt, on Conga. HSL is going to continue to push this advantage. They've separated the supports away from the rest of the team. The D.Va trying to peel for Kara, but Kara goes down nonetheless. HSL Esports looking like We Have Org on the first round of Ilios. Now they're about to get a 100-0 win here if they can keep We Have Org at bay. They throw an ultimate just outside the point, trying to keep We Have Org off the point, but that Hammond rolls right in, pile driving into the back line, but Askov will snipe Zergy as they're trying to put pressure on the Reinhardt, and that's getting closer and closer to a... Oh, Sean P's going to get the self-destruct. Tech is halfway to theirs, and HSL doesn't have any more ultimates just yet. We Have Org has an opportunity, but there's a hack. Now going to throw down on Zik, but still the kills coming for HSL Esports. Overtime ticket away here. Still no ultimates, but Askov's getting closer and closer on Earthshatter, and Tech's about to have self-destruct. They also have the kill advantage on the feed and on the field. The Doomfist can't get there in time, and HSL will take in a 0-100 win for their own to tie things up 1-1.
I like the change that we saw coming from HSL, running that just raw quad tank that we haven't seen very much. Usually goats is what we're seeing a lot more of, but having Sardis on that Roadhog, he was doing a really good job of making sure to, disrupt the flankers a little bit. IDXD and Zergy were trying to flank around, but there was always that Roadhog there with that hook. Zergy had such a hard time playing Doomfist because that hook was always there, always on the money. And when you hook that Doomfist and the follow-up is good, he's just going to pop like a balloon. So I really like the adaptation coming out from HSL there. And now going over to a map that we don't see a lot of goats on. We usually see Orisa Hog, but here it looks like we're going to be seeing dive versus dive. Basically mirror comps, actually just straight mirror comps coming out from both these teams. So just could be looking out for those Lucios to get those environmental kills instead of like something like a Halt Hook.
And here we go, going on Zix Cam here on the McCree, who's, of course, against their counterpart, IDXD on the McCree of their own here. And both teams also sporting that Zenyatta. There's a lot of snipe potential, but IDXD gets in the board first. First blood for them. 6v5 advantage for We Have Org. And of course, they're going to aggressively push that to continue to snowball on HSL Esports. There's nowhere for them to run, despite the mobility that they have. And We Have Org with a very convincing first fight win.
Yeah, I mean, getting that McCree out of the fight early and then pressing their advantage. You go in, you don't have any damage left from HLS Esports because that McCree is down. So you just push in from the side of We Have Org. And now you're going to just play aggressive. Milk as much percentage off that clock as possible, but don't be too over aggressive because the dive could still come in from HSL.
Yeah, and both teams pretty even on ultimate charge. So again, could just be a We Have Org looking for a pick, going for another snowball win here to have an advantage for the next fight in terms of ultimates. And they are holding so far up that HSL can't even touch the point. They have to go for a right side flank here. And We Have Org that sets them up for IDXD's high noon, keeping HSL inside, and Zik goes down nonetheless. Now IDXD going to push up on the left side. There's the Zenyatta ultimate from their own Conga. Hedon still holding on to theirs with their own Transcendence. HSL losing everyone and resetting the rest. 42% now for We Have Org.
Yeah, IDXD is winning this McCree battle so far. Already 2 kills to 0 over Zik there. And now for the side of HLS Esports, you really don't have that much time left with 50% on the clock. Hedon has this Transcendence, has to be huge with it. But Kara, again, with this sound barrier, could be huge and could stop all the damage coming in from HSL with this dive.
Oh, and Askov just got Primal Rage. Zik finds the high noon kill in IDXD. HSL has an advantage. Doesn't have to burn many ultimates to keep it. They will they will lose their Bree and their Zenyatta to the support line. We have Oregon. Askov is forced to use the Primal Rage to keep themselves alive as they are booped into the pit. Now, throwing wrists around, trying to get rid of the Bree off of the rest of the team, and it works out perfectly. Slaps him off the map. We have Oregon have lost pretty much everyone here. Their Diva also going to get DMAC, losing their Lucio as well. Kara will return favor, but the medicine is not strong enough here. HSL still has control of the point.
Ooh.
We have Org, though, is trading somewhat outside of the perimeter of the fight, but Sardis right-clicks Minda into the pit. That should be enough. We have Org have lost everything there, and HSL will finally regain control of the point.
Yeah, we have Org did lose a lot there, but they have 88% to their name on this on the percentage wise here, so they do have a lot going for them in this next fight. They win one more fight, and they're probably going to win the game here. But HLS Esports does switching over to this Orisa now. A lot of more potential for that halt to get those environmental kills, and as we've been seeing in these team fights Rapture lately, these environmental kills are really what makes or breaks those team fights.
And Shop has a self-destruct. Might just stop things right here, Kenobi.
Oh,
Gets to the back line and it finds the Orisa and Lucio. That's huge. Of course, we have Org's going to go in on that one. There's the high noon as well, but it's up against the Transcendence. It will sneak its way inside the building, but not going to find a definitive kill. IDXD going to rejoin the rest of the team. 39 HP, but comfortably chilling along the support line here. 96% for We Have Org. And HSL is nowhere to be found. It's just the McCree and the Bree. Lucio gets there just in time, but Mono goes down immediately. HSL cannot keep a presence on the point. They can only stagger on with one character at a time, and We Have Org just going to clean things up easily, wipes their plates, puts them in the sink. Overtime ticks away, and We Have Org will secure the first map here for their first match in Contenders Trials. We have Org up 1-0 after a victory on Ilios.
Really, really smart play coming out from Sean P there with that self-destruct at the end. He saw the Orisa barrier go down and then immediately snap of the fingers, like, I'm throwing self-destruct up and we're going to get these 2 kills and then I'm going to be able to, with the rest of my team, go through and we're going to be able to take this point. Really nice play and proactive play coming out from Sean P.
And not only that, but certainly some more play coming up in our next map. But before we head there, we're going to take a quick break to get things settled on our side. So don't go anywhere. Map number 2 of this set between We Have Org and their opponents will be coming right after this.
coming back.
But I'm foolish. I needed you. Know that I've been missing. But I'm foolish. I needed you. Know that I've been missing. But I'm foolish. I needed you. Know that I've been missing. But I'm foolish. I needed you. I needed you. But I'm foolish. I needed you. Know that I've been missing. But I'm foolish. I needed you.
Welcome back, everybody. It is time to get into map number 2. If you're just joining us, it is We Have Org against HSL Esports, and it is currently 1-0 in favor of We Have Org after they won on Ilios 2-1. This is Contenders Trials Season 3 2018 for Europe, and this is Week 1. I am Rapture, still here with Kenobi, and after that first map, Kenobi, any expectations as we move into Hybrid?
It depends really on the map we're going to be seeing from Hybrid. We have the options between Hollywood and Ike involved, but both of them are usually very tank-heavy set compositions. You sometimes see the Go on Ike involved, you sometimes see Farah. So I'm interested to see what these two teams are going to bring out. For We Have Org, their dive on Ilios was very, very clean and crisp, especially on that first map, 100-0ing a Goats composition coming out with the just prioritization of environmental kills, something Goats doesn't really deal with very well. And then on the other side for HSL, when they ran the quad tank, they were very good at understanding the strengths of their compositions, really just bulldozing over the dive that was coming out from We Have Org there. So it's definitely going to be a close one, I think, in these next couple of series, as looks like we are going to be heading soon into our next map.
Yeah, we're going to be going to a Hollywood premiere out here for map 2, so that'll be hype. But yeah, honestly, it's hard to call this one. All 3 rounds of Ilios were 100-0. and it went either way. It was obviously 3 rounds, so at least one team won once. So yeah, this could be a stop. It could go all the the distance. And of course, as we've been talking about before we go into this map, this is a mishmash of teams and players from previous teams coming together. World Cup candidates, contenders trials players, open division titans out here, teams from Dopamine, Elotic, Augmented Authority, all these teams represented. Wind and Rain. And if you've been following tier 3 Overwatch in Europe since the beginning of like this year, you recognize a bunch of these players, you recognize a bunch of the teams they've been from. So now this is how far they've gotten. The grind, the path to pro, you get muddy, you get dirty out there, and the grind is always real. So we are going to map number 2. We have Org and HSL Esports. We have Org in the blue, HSL in the red.
Yeah, and it looks like from we have Org on the defensive side going to be running this dive that they've been so comfortable running. It seems so far with the Sombra and the Doomfist as well as the Ana Lucio. It seems like they're very comfortable running this composition. It looked very good, like I mentioned on the first map, Lighthouse on Ilios. And on defense, you definitely have a lot of opportunities to get that dive onto the back line of HSL Esports and use that Doomfist and use that Sombra to, just disrupt the back line as much as you can. And they might be expecting here to be bringing out goats, which is why they're running this. But HSL actually seems to be running themselves a little bit more of an interesting composition. We don't know what it's going to be yet. And I'll probably cast a curse myself thinking about what the offense is going to be running. But here I'm going to be really looking out for Konga specifically with these antis. They've been huge so far if he's been hitting them, but he has to be very careful because HSL has a tendency to dive onto him and get him out of the fight early.
Yeah, I mean, we have Org with a composition that can chase down opponents, but also withstand dive attempts with their own Doomfist, their hacks coming out from Spox. HSL Esports, though, I mean, the Sombra Pharah is not a super common combination here. It's going to be a lot of disjointed damage, a lot of sometimes inconsistent damage out here. It's going to be up to HSL Esports' tanks to create a lot of room for Sombra to work with here on Zik, and then Sardis to reign the supreme in the skies and do a lot of damage. But Ascot right there, diving head first onto the backline of HSL Esports. But look at that right there. We have Org have the tools to respond to any dive threat. Immediate kills come out from the Doomfist and the Sombra just as the monkey jumps in. And we have Org will retain the point with minimal losses.
Yeah, and that was such a good start from HSL. Hedon hit a huge across the map sleep into the top of that restaurant there, and they dive was perfect, but the return dive, the counter dive from We Have Org also just so masterfully done. Zergy getting into the back line with that Doomfist as well as Spox, just doing so much damage. And Midna here gonna have to get out rather at low health.
And we have Org with the ultimate advantage here charge-wise. Fox is about to get the Sombra ult. They're going to have the EMP. Both tanks will have their ult as well. Hedon, though, does get to their nano boost first. They're going to let it loose immediately, but Spox has the EMP, lets it go, and a huge anti grenade from Konga to make it easy for We Have Org to get the melts, but HSL getting the kills first as Sardis doing a lot of work from above, a lot of damage coming off this far and stealing kills away from their own diva. HSL Esports, a big play there, converting off of these Pharah rockets to get the first point. I don't think We Have Org will be able to contest.
Yeah, and there you see the value of the Sombra against something like a Doomfist. Doomfist, a very cooldown reliant hero, and a great job from HSL. Once he was hacked, let the DPS just burst that Doomfist down. He's going to get out of the fight early, and the rest is done from there. So really good job of target prioritization coming from the hacking that we're seeing from Zik.
And We Have Org have a few about that would be 4 and 5 ultimates. HSL with a slight advantage here. All they have is everything but nano boost. But Zergy on that nano boost feels like they're using a bunch of ultimates here.
Again.
They get hacked though. Zergy can't dive in too far, gets greedy, gets shut down. And now HSL Esports looking to clean up. We Have Org as they're scrambling to look and trying to get into some cover here, Kenobi, and they're unable to do so. We Have Org is getting just sliced and diced here by HSL at about the 4-minute mark. And HSL able to retain half of their ultimates, so they'll be pretty good to go into this next fight.
Again, just masterful play coming out from Zeke here on this Sombra, hacking the Doomfist when he was nanoed and going in. And then on top of that, once he gets bursted down, he saves another hack for Midna on that Winston, not able to use that Primal Rage since he was silenced. So again, Zeke and saving ultimates, that was basically a vanilla fight that they won. They kept most of their tank ultimates and they kept the barrage. So really good play coming out from HSL.
Oh, Minna, though, forced to use the
another
Primal
sweep.
Rage and then gets slapped just before the fight even really gets going. The barrage comes out from Sardis to clean Minna up, of course, against that big health pool they had in Primal Rage. But again, Zergy and Spoxes responds when HSL dives on them, is ready there with the stuns and the hacks. So HSL really can't get super aggressive. The second they dive in and use their own cooldowns, they get shut down and are unable to run away or just get stopped mid-ability. We have Orc still, despite taking a ton of damage throughout this map, continue to come back and put pressure on HSL Esports, making it harder for them to work through this for the second phase of the map.
The EMP comes out there and it's actually huge. It looks like We Have Org is going to be able to stop this with that EMP helping them secure this point. Sardis is doing his best he can to get a couple of kills on the way out, but it's not going to be enough. And We Have Org here is going to stop the bleeding just a little bit because it has been a very, very hard couple of points for them in a couple of fights.
And We Have Org reducing HSL to 2 minutes and 40 seconds here. Not only stealing their lives, but stealing away the frames as well. We have Org now with pretty low as they're making a couple changes. Spox is on the McCree, so they're far away from an ultimate. Zergy has moved over. So they've changed the Sombra role over to Zergy. So they've given up the Doomfist and they've added a McCree, changing the Sombra over to Zergy. What do you think about that change?
Yeah, well, I like that Spock is going to be switching over to this McCree. That means that Sombra can't go into the backline for free. Has to be very careful of that flashbang into that combo with the McCree. So I like that you're going to be able to put a little bit more pressure as Zik gets a huge EMP to start out this fight, Rapture.
Yeah, but they don't have any other ultimates to really follow up on that EMP, so the kills aren't there. And Conga used the nano boost on Midna, who is bolstering the front line. Now there's a self-destruct right through mid. A huge strike there. Gets a couple pins down, and Sean P will find 2 on that self-destruct. Of course, We Have Orgs in a snowball onto that. Gets a few more, and HSL now below 2 minutes and not even halfway through the map.
Yeah, and now Zik is going to switch to a McCree of his own, and Sardis has swept over to that brigade. So they're really going to try hard to stop Zergy from getting into this backline. Make sure that he's going to there's going to be a little bit of pressure on him to stop him from farming up that EMP and getting those hacks into the backline. 1:30 left for HSL. You have maybe 1 or 2 fights left, so let's see what they can do with them.
And HSL looking for this, right side push. They're trying not to just go down mid and take a ton of damage before the fight even really begins. At the same time, they don't want to give We Have Org a ton of ult charge. Askoff, though, used the Primal Rage to contest the high ground held by We Have Org, and then Minda gets knocked down and right-clicked by debris. Now props Primal Rage to go, gets stunned as they go to the support line, and Minda now below half HP here, gets bolstered up by Conga. Conga's Ana, and now just raging face finds the Diva, but Zergy steals the kill. Spox also gets another one. We Have Org, all they had to burn was Minda's Primal Rage there, and they walk away with the team fight. 47 seconds here, Kenobi, and almost 5 ultimates going into the next fight.
A treasure trove of ultimates for We Have Org in 40 seconds, as you mentioned. It is last fight territory right here for HSL. They're going to have the rally to sustain themselves a little bit in this next fight, but Spox, with that Deadeye, could be huge to zone out, as well as Zergy's EMP here. Zergy has shown that he's been able to hit fat EMPs that win team fights basically by themselves, so here he's going to be looking for one of those.
There's the EMP self-destruct combination in the backline. Fortunately, it's caught in that corridor, so unable to confirm on kills. Though there will be a high noon DMEC from Spoxes, and Askoff will also get caught in the crossfire. And now the sound boost from both Lucios there, trying to keep each team alive as they're down ultimates, except Hedon on the Transcendence, but no DPS ultimates left behind. A big a big anti-grenade there from Conga. Zergy is going to able to melt with that, but even trade coming out from HSL Esports, both teams getting 2 kills. HSL still has control of the payload with that little extra healing by controlling the payload itself that keeps them alive against We Have Org. They're forced to fall back, and they don't have any ultimates to sustain. So overtime ticking away here.
Yeah, We Have Org used all their ultimates there, and the combos just weren't hitting. They tried the self-destruct EMP, but the EMP was just mistimed there, and they were able to shield themselves away from that self-destruct. And HSL can definitely push this. There's no ults on the side of We Have Org, except for Midna's Primal Rage, most likely. So they do have some stall potential, but here HSL could go huge in this next fight.
HSL, they're bunching up a little bit. They got to be careful. Conga drop another anti-grenade onto them. There's a self-destruct coming out on the payload to keep We Have Org at bay. Doesn't get kills, but it does its job. Still not enough to confirm on the point itself, or actually it is 1:20 as HSL Esports not only gets the fight, but the payload and the point, and about a minute and change left on the clock.
And I really like that from Zik there, knowing that the Sombra had used the hack, could just free farm in the back line with that Doomfist, go in, get the stun on the Sombra, and then Stardust was able to follow up with that shield bash. Great play and understanding of cooldowns coming out from Zeke there. And now he's been switching over to this Ryan Zarya for this next push, a lot more sustain and a lot more close fighting range in this third point. And Hedon has this Transcendence where that they could use to just go in and push this aggressively or stop whatever we have Org is going to be doing.
Another EMP self-destruct combination, and it
Can't
hits
stop that.
Sean P for a double kill there. And we have Org just going to run wild on HSL. Doesn't even wipe their feet at the floor. Stomps right over them. Now 35 seconds left, and they're going to stagger tech for a moment. And look at that. Like you said, Hedon, the only one with their ultimate. No ult charge by anyone else built in that fight for HSL.
And that's the combo wanted to use in that second point when they were trying to hold them. They wanted to use that combo, and there it works to perfection with that EMP and self-destruct. And now with 15 seconds left, it's last fight here. Hedon going to have to use this Transcendence most likely to just push this cart the most they can.
Yeah, but we have Org will have their own sound barrier to go. Card just got that, and Minna's halfway to an Earth Shatter, so they'll probably have it by the time the payload gets to the end of the map. If it does, sound barrier is thrown down, Transcendence as well. It's a scramble on the point, but HSL has most of their players on the payload itself, while we have Org separated on the outside perimeter of the fight and the payload. HSL with a slight advantage, and now they're going to continue to push it. They're getting the kills, and we have Org trying not to burn ultimates. They're going to reset and then look for one more fight here, Kenobi.
They're going to have one more fight. Konga has this Transcendence, so he can stall the point a little bit. And Zergy has to be huge again with this EMP. They need to get on the point right now because they're so close. EMP is huge, Rapture.
Over and on the trailer right there. Oh, and then the Graviton Earthshatter combination, keep the D.Va on their back. The Transcendence on the payload and no kills. HSL unable to get anything, but they at least burn the Transcendence where we have Org. There's another Graviton. It's going to keep the Zarya box at bay, puts them down. Overtime still ticking away. HSL a slight now full hold on the payload. Oh, but just in time, Kara touches it, and there's a pile drive from Minda. They're going to get some point on, some presence on the point. Carr still on it, swinging away. The pendulum continues to swing. It's pinball. Oh, and the Earthshatter will catch up just in time. Minda goes down. Overtime ticking away. Sardis alongside with the Transcending Zani, then yet has control of the point, but Carr's still on it. Now there's the Doomfist coming out from Spox, trying to just uppercut everyone off the point, but they're super low, and Hedon cuts them down. Now the Sombra gets onto it. Zergy used the EMP. Transcendence burned there now by the Zenyatta Konga. Another pile driver out here. It's the Undertaker. Another one pile driver on the payload. Overtime still 2 meters less than, and it's still HSL cannot confirm this, even though they have a slight player advantage on the payload. But we have Org slowly but surely replenishing and getting back onto the payload with 2 kills from Konga, and it's enough to keep HSL from completing the map.
The slimmest of margins coming out from We Have Org. I mean, that fight went back and forth, so scrappy. It looked there at the start of the fight. They got that huge Shatter Graviton combo, but the damage and follow-up just wasn't there. And then HSL looked to have the upper hand with their ultimates, but Zergy at the last minute got that huge EMP, which caused a lot of healing and a lot of cooldowns coming out from HSL. And after that, the stall and the respawns were close enough from We Have Org to win and stop that at 7.50 meters. That's so close to the end. HSL's definitely feeling a little bit, maybe a little bit upset that they didn't get it all the way there, because the win condition now is there for We Have Org. Push it all the way, and you take a 2-0 lead.
I mean, honestly, We Have Org coming in clutch there. I don't even know if HSL can really be super mad about that. They got it probably farther than they should have, because remember how long the payload was sat in the middle of the map here, right? And then We Have Org stopping with, I mean, the plays from Konga. Minda coming in there with the Hammond. This is just stall tactics and really precision plays coming out from like a character like Ana that can make the difference. You can see there We Have Org holding on, and you're right, there's the win condition. They only need to complete the map, and you can see that they can get these burst kills using like the Doomfist, the Sombra, the Ana. So they should be able to snowball this on offense now, as HSL has to almost be perfect. They have to win every fight here. We Have Org only has to be right once per phase.
Yeah, and HSL here on the defense going to be using a little bit more of a standard and a not really mobile composition with their tanks. They're going to have Askoft here on the top of Restaurant, just pumping out as much damage with the spam from her gun, and Zarda on this Junkrat rather. So they're just gonna, their goal here is to just spam the front of that archway there, just gets as much damage as possible. And if Sardis can farm up that Junkrat tire really, really fast, it's going to be really good for them, because Junkrat tire, as we know, Rapture, one of those ultimate abilities that if you hit it correctly and get it quickly, you can end pushes before they even happen.
Yeah, exactly. And you get some good scouting. And of course, the spam damage is hard for the offense to work through. But We Have Org has the mobility to get around that spam damage. And looks like that's the gameplay right here. Send Zergy into the back line, have Spoxes stay on the front line, reflect things, stay with the rest of the team, get some scouting from Zergy to figure out what's going on, but a lot of mobility for We Have Org. At HSL, they have that spam composition on the high ground, throwing down stuff behind the Orisa shield while Zig's going to harass, but gets super low and barely able to get out just in time. Nevertheless, it's really no rush here for We Have Org. They know they have a lot of time on the clock. They're trying to look for a pick, trying to build some ultimate charge here, Kenobi. And now they're looking for the push. They go down mid. They're going to force HSL to make a decision here, but HSL is going to wait as long as possible to stay on the high ground. But they've already given up half of the first third of point A. We have Org losing bodies, and they lost 3 there in that fight. HSL coming out on top very easily and only have to drop down to the ground at the end of the fight.
Yeah, that was some expertly Discord placement there from Heat on understanding that Kong was in a little bit of a bad position, discorded him, and then Stardust was able to follow up with the damage. And once you lose that Zenyatta in that Zenyatta Goats composition, it's very hard for you to keep sustaining and deal with the damage coming out from HSL Esports. And now Kong going to be switching over to the Moira. Moira, a little bit of a safer option. You can peel for yourself with that fade. So definitely going to be seeing a little bit more of a safer composition here from We Have Org.
Yep, and the EMP from Zikto is ready and waiting for this death ball coming out from We Have Org. Hedon will convert into a kill onto Zergy. 6v5 situation for HSL. And look at the ultimates they have ready to go. So if We Have Org starts to get kills, Stardust can just let that Riptire loose, but they don't even need to. Askoff and Tech 36 getting on the board. HSL very comfortably winning yet another fight, and they've built themselves up to 4 ultimates now, Kenobi, looking towards the next fight.
And that was off the back of just one from Zig there, got the Zarya out of the fight early, was hacked and couldn't really do anything, was also caught in a trap as well. So very difficult for them to continue to push. And now HSL, you mentioned it, the 4 ultimates that they have can definitely stop these fights. And We Have Org not really looking as good with anything but that shatter. And he dies, so it doesn't matter.
That's rough. But at least Minda retained. It didn't hit Q before that, it hit the ground, right? So Minda still has the Earth Shatter. Like, this is, even though 2 minutes has been burned here, Kenobi, I mean, We Have Org now have the tools to get in. Zergy's about to have Graviton, so if anything, this is the moment to strike.
Yeah, they do, but they're going to be sectioned off from the rest of their team for a long time here. They're in the back, and they're wasting a lot of time just sitting there in that back line. 1 minute and 30 seconds left. The Supercharger does go down with the Coalescence as well, but here's the tire. Let's see if it can be huge, Rapture.
Oh,
but Chompy!
Oh my god. Oh, okay. So Sanpi for 2, Sardis for 3, still outdoing the self-destruct from the Diva Shampi, and We Have Org lost Minda and Zergy again before they could use their ultimates. We Have Org probably glad that they still have those ultimates, but that could have won them the fight. HSL burning a couple, but they still have their EMP as well.
Yeah, they have their EMP in the fight. Chompy getting dangerously low. He is going to be demeched here, but the rest of We Have Org is coming back onto this point, and we'll see what can happen right now. The EMP is absolutely huge there from Zeke, and that might be all they need to confirm this point and this match, Rapture.
Yeah, We Have Org, they have the tools, but they can't open the toolbox. They have no opportunity to actually get things done, and they're still sitting on ultimates they had over a minute ago. Meanwhile, HSL has built themselves up to a couple more. They have position on the point, and there's about 30 seconds left, so HSL probably has 1 clean fight attempt left.
Yeah, last fight territory, but they do have the Shatter and they have the Graviton. Hedon here has to be huge with this Transcendence. Can't get blown up at the start of the fight or it'll be absolutely detrimental to them as they're going to go in right now, Rapture.
Oh, Zergy charging right in with the Graviton, and the self-destruct is used by Tech, who's not in position to eat up the Graviton, and gets killed by their counterpart, Shampi, who's about to get their self-destruct. There's a tire. Sardis finds the Reinhardt Minda, who's not holding on to her shadow this time, which is good. HSL and We Have Org trading kills left and right here, but HSL still has the high ground advantage. They're going to let it go, though, and just jump right into Zergy. Why not give him more charge? And he's halfway to another Graviton. Mono out by themselves, and they're getting chased out by Shampi, but Shampi doesn't even have to worry about it as Konga gets the kill, steals the kill away. 2 ticks now, and We Have Org, like you said, only has to be right once. HSL has to be right every time. We Have Org just in time there in overtime, takes point A.
That was a really good Graviton from Zergy at the top of the restaurant there, getting the 3 members, the Junkrat, the Mercy, and the Zenyatta all just clumped together and couldn't really join the fight as Midna there went huge with his Reinhardt, got the Shatter onto the Hammond there, and then was able to just push that advantage with that one character that they blew up there. So really looks like HSL here is going to be switching over to a more beefy composition.
Oh, I like that. So Shampi not waiting from the Graviton from Zergy, forcing HSL to scatter. And now We Have Org can just pick up the slack, get every individual from HSL. They're separated from one another. The kills come easy, and they only needed to burn 1 ultimate to do it. Good job to We Have Org winning a very convincing fight. And now going towards the halfway point of the map.
Shopee always has been money with these self-destructs that we've been seeing, getting 2 kills, 3 kills, sometimes just getting 1 kill, which was mono there on the Lucio, getting that healing, getting that speed out of the composition quickly. And now HSL going to try and recontest here, but we have have a lot of ultimates to their name to get in this next fight.
And HSL has nothing. Graviton securing HSL in place, but the kills are not coming easy. Both tanks go super low, and Ascot cannot get away with their life. 5v4 advantage for We Have Org, and they have control of the payload. They just stomp over HSL, and they're going to stagger the tank and half the tank and half the support line. So We Have Org, not only that, but have an ultimate advantage going to this next fight at about the 1 minute mark.
HSL is going to have a recontest though here, and they do have a good amount of ultimates to their name. They're about to have 5 for this next recontest, but they need to go now. It needs to be very quick. They're just there, so close, but they are going to get that recontest rapture.
Oh, stuns Askov as they're using Earth Shatter, and that delays it. Not going to find it when the hammer finally hits the ground. A Graviton comes down. Another Earth Shatter. Sound Barrier as well. Self-destruct up from above, but Tech 36 only able to get 1 kill. 2 ultimates burn, and 1 kill out of it. Not worth the investment. HSL now losing things fast, and We Have Org will be able to weather the storm, make it to the second checkpoint.
Yeah, they recontested there, but it just didn't work out for them, and HSL is going to lose that point. And We Have Org very close now to that win condition that we talked about. Just get it to the end, and look at the ultimates that they're going to have. They're going to have the Graviton. They're going to have the self-destruct as well, and they could just use these. Shopee has been absolutely huge with his self-destructs, and if he just gets 2 or 3 people, We Have Org is going to take this to a 2-0 lead. Rapture.
Yeah, and because HSL couldn't finish that map, We Have Org, they have things in their sights. They're licking their lips here. And there's a Graviton comes out. Oh, self-destruct as well. Got to keep that shield up. Oh, but it's under them as this Reinhardt was on top of the payload and the self-destruct was on the ground. Something able to get Tech 36. So much damage done throughout that Graviton, and We Have Org just slaughtering HSL. And now they're on that last run of the map.
So much damage, Rapture. I don't even know if they needed Shopee self-destruct in the end there. They were all dead before it even blew up, and now We Have Org so close to this last checkpoint. 1 minute left. They have Midna Shatter here. It has to be absolutely huge with 1 minute left.
No, but they have to be careful. They're on the payload, and Askov's about to get theirs. Has the Earth Shatter. Gonna wait, looking to try and bait. There's the Earth Shatter. There's the stun Earth Shatter combination. It's a 1-2 punch. But a Transcendence is responding as well from Conga. Dual Transcendences here. Who's gonna come out on the other side? As Zenyatta's are super low. And now the Mono jumping onto the fray, but still the tank line of We Have Org is in the front line. They have to be careful. Oh, a great bubble there to keep Midna alive. And Midna's still super low, but they're able to stay alive. Now, Starter comes in down from mid. Ascot puts them on their back. It's at least 3. And now Graviton keeping them in place with a Sound Bear keeping them alive from Kara. Now a self-destruct upstairs. They have to stay alive through this one, but HSL is nowhere to be found. Now just the D.Va and the Lucio. Now a Doomfist jumping into the fray, but so does the touch the payload. Everyone gets booped off. And We Have Org able to steal away the map from under the noses of HSL, now with a 2-0 lead.
A game of inches there, Rapture. I mean, you saw HSL so close to confirming the map on that first push, and We Have Org was able to do it just a little bit better there. Great combinations of ultis coming out in that last fight. We saw the stun into Shatter, one of the combos that you definitely love to see. That Brigitte Squire helping her master of Reinhardt, and they were able to push that cart with some more ultimates that they were farmed up in that last of that fight. A valiant effort from HSL to stall and continue to. I mean, that was a huge ultimate that we saw there at the end from the Reinhardt, but it just wasn't enough, and the follow-up wasn't there. Great sound barrier from Kara to secure themselves that point, and We Have Org taking a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, I mean, the supports, the tank, everyone playing out of their mind in those games, despite it being a 2-0. This is a lead right now in scoreline. This is definitely a close set, but there's definitely a lot to talk about. So I'm going to throw it over to the analyst desk, Gio, and the rest. What do you have a lot to say?
Guys, we have seen pretty exciting matchups so far. We were not concerned, but we were, cognizant about the unpredictability of what was going to happen. Now, one of the things that we have seen that links back to one of the things we about on the pregame was, are We Have Org gonna take the risk and play some more trusting compositions, the ones where you have to rely on the fact that your supports or your tanks or whoever are going to know exactly where they are supposed to be. And in Ilios particularly, we saw them take that risk and it really pay off. What do we think about this, and how much did that have to say on their win on that map?
I mean, it's really, really, this is something we highlighted in our previous series, and it continues to stay true here. Doomfist Sombra is very, very good right now. Sombra specifically. I mean, being able to be invisible, just gain information, build that EMP up. It's so good. It's just one of the best abilities in the game, just full stop. And we have Org able to take full advantage of it on Ilios, at least on Lighthouse on the first round of that map. Ruins a bit of a different story. The compositional changes up weren't really in their favor, but we have Org. I think one of the things that really the question mark we had on them was, can they play different styles? Can they be the ones to change it up? Can they be able to bring a flexibility that to this point is unknown? They're a brand new team, relatively speaking, and so to have that answered pretty emphatically is really good this early on.
I mean, we actually saw them playing Mirror Comp at one point, and they seem to be dominant in that. And one of the things that you said was they don't even look like a new team.
I think now you can sort of expand on that a little bit in a moment, but yeah, they don't look like a new team, and that's really that bodes well for them moving through Contenders season through Contenders trials. Like, you don't want to be the team that is trying to figure things out as you go through the season. You want to be the one that has had all the answers and is only going to provide more and more reasons to give you to be the team that you want to beat towards the end of the trials period.
Yeah, absolutely. We touched on the fact that they have this individual skill that they're bringing with them from previous teams, previous experience. We touched on the fact that they've played together on other teams in the past, a couple of them having been on the same team. And yeah, I think it also comes down to really crisp in-game leading. Having somebody on your team that has done in-game leading before. As much as it's a new in-game leader, it's an experienced in-game leader. It's somebody that knows what they're doing. They were playing so well. They were playing like a team that have been together for months, which is absolutely surprising, and I loved every minute of it. I loved seeing their synergy. I loved seeing how well they played together. It really worked out for them. So definitely not looking like a brand new team.
I mean, the in-game leader for We Have Org is, of course, Kara. And speaking of Kara, Nari, one thing that you got pretty excited about, particularly on Hollywood, was the support play coming out from actually both teams, Kara on the side of We Have Org and Hidan on the side of HSL Esports. What do you think about that and how that led to our final result and how some of those fights went?
It was insane. At one point there, we saw Kara get beat in the space of like 20 seconds. Possibly less. They were fighting it out in overtime on that payload, and Kara, being the ridiculous Lucio that he is, just getting ult after ult. Hidan being an insane Zenyatta, and I touched on Hidan in Open Division as well, talking about what a crazy Zenyatta he is. He creates so much opportunity for his team. He knows exactly where to put his Harmony Orb. He knows exactly where to put his Discord Orb. He builds up his ultimate. He uses his ultimate to the maximum effect. I mean, I made a joke that the supports are carrying these teams. You hear so often that it's like, oh, the DPS are popping off, oh, the tanks, look at them. In this, particularly on Hollywood, the supports were creating so much of that necessary space, and I felt like I needed to shout them out. So Kara, Hidan, you guys, well played. I'm super impressed.
Well, we will see if they can keep it up going into our assault map next. But first, we are going to throw to a short break before moving into the second half of this series. We'll catch you soon.
Welcome back, Overwatchers. It is HSL Esports versus We Have Org, and it is time for Map 3. Thank you all for joining us here at Broadcast.gg for Contenders Trial Season 3 2018 Europe. I am still Rapture, here with my man Kenobi, and it is time for the third map. Once we figure out what it is, we'll let you know, and then we'll be getting into it. Also, I think the sound should be sounding better to everybody, so make sure you turn those speakers up, get some bass going, and get ready for this third one.
The sound is better because I heard what map we're going to. So
okay.
I know. We're gonna be going to Volskaya. I think that it's coming to me through the ether here that we're gonna be going to Volskaya. I think is what we're gonna be seeing. And Volskaya, one of those maps where you see a lot of tank heavy compositions, a lot of these 3-3s. You can sometimes see dive because it seems like We Have Org very, very comfortable with the dive that they've been playing so far. The kind of the somber Doomfist dive where you just go in and just cause as much havoc as possible. You know, if you're a support playing against the somber Doomfist, it's basically a horror game. You either get hacked or you get punched and booped. It's just the worst thing to happen. So for We Have Org, I think they're going to be sticking towards something more of that. Saw their goats, but it did look good when they wanted to play Ghost, but their dive here has been looking so crisp. And the Des mentioned it. I really like that they said they don't look like a team of just a mishmash of players that we've seen from Open Division. They look like a team that's been together for a long time with the coordination I've seen from their dive and from their goats. So really interesting to see how HSL is going to try and stack up to that communication that it seems like We Have Org has over them.
That's the thing. Like, even if these team players haven't been playing together as a team for a while, they have that synergy just being these top tier 3 players. Again, if you've been watching European Overwatch throughout 2018, you know teams like Dopamine, Elotic, Augmented Authority, Bazooka Puppies, Wind and Rain. These are players from those teams, even the original We Have Org. So a lot for these teams. Some have experience in trials even farther, World Cup experience even more. And We Have Org up 2-0. But if you're just joining us, these maps have been pretty close, Kenobi. It was a 2-1 on Ilios. We went almost the distance there on our second map on Hollywood, but it was very close there. And now we have Volskaya. I'm expecting another close map here too.
So We Have Org here opting for the Genji Sombra. So they have a lot of dive potential and burst potential with these characters. As Minden is going to dive up, followed by Spox. Not going to get anything, just a pressure drive just of now, but the fight is starting, and Sardis is going to get Midget. That's a huge pick, Rapture.
Yeah, Spox animated there. Has to move up a little bit here. Tech 36 goes down, and already a lead here for We Have Org.
Yeah, I think I commentator cursed a little bit. I was talking about how We Have Org have a really good dive so far, and it's been really coordinated. But Minna there going just a little bit too over aggressive without the help of his Genji or his Diva, and then ended up going down to Sardis. So they definitely have to work on that a little bit. But they do have priority over the map right now. As Kara here going to be going around looking for some boots.
Yep. Oh, sees someone animated, gonna fall back to the teammate. So 2 minutes and 50 seconds now. Our first point here, our first third of the point taken here by We Have Org, and HSL trying to mosey their way onto the point off of a biotic grenade kill there on the Genji, and now continuing forward is HSL Esports, but it's an even trade here, though the DMAC is not enough to keep We Have Org at least alive. They don't have the Diva anymore. HSL with the advantage, but We Have Org already have at least a half a point A.
Sergey probably going to want that EMP back. Didn't have the or anything for that damage, and it's going to ended up being a wasted EMP there in HSL, getting towards their own ultimates here. You have this Transcendence, and you have the EMP from Sardis, so this fight could be over before it even starts with that EMP Rapture.
EMP goes down, nano boosted Monkey on Askov going in, looking for, a big biotic grenade there from Mono. Now Askov trying to get some work done, but Kara boops Askov away as the Primal Raging. We Have Org, 1 minute and 50 seconds to go, and they're up against this Transcendence from Hedon, and they'll have Zik and Tech 36 to worry about on their ultimates. We Have Org gonna fall back. They don't want to waste any more time here, Kenobi.
Yeah, and it was a really good Transcendence coming out from Hedon there, just to understand that you have to cure the fight. You might want to look back for it the next time, but the support ultimates, and I already had mentioned it on the desk, the supports have been playing excellent so far, and Mono, with these anti-nades, has been a real star far on this Ana, hitting countless anti-nades, making sure that healing isn't getting to them, but We Have Org has this blade. They're probably going to wait for Kanga to get that nano, and we might see that nano blade come in hot and heavy, Rapture.
Yep, Spox goes right in. Now, they worry about a pulse bomb, though, from the Tracer, and the sleep misses on Spox. So Spox can't get kills as they are biotic grenaded. A great repel here from HSL Esports, holding We Have Org back, but We Have Org only burned their blade from Spox. They didn't use Nano Boost. They didn't have Kanga ready just yet. Zergy now has the EMP, and Midnight Shop are on their ultimates as well.
Yeah, and again, a little bit of miscommunication with their ultimates there. I mean, Spox is going to be switching over to that Brigitte, but you might have wanted to save that blade for that Nano in the end there. But again, we have Org have these ultimates that they can use to try and win this next fight. Zerg EMPs has been the name of the game so far, and with Sardis having his own, it's going to be a battle of which EMP can go off first and get more value here.
Oh, self-destruct to the back line, but does not find Paydirt. EMP right on the point, though. And Kara for 2. 6v4 advantage. We want to sleep as Mindus Primal raging and Nano Booster has to take a nap. Now HSL trying to put the advantage as Mindus down, but Minda gets right back up, still looking for revenge on the Ana, who is going to jump right down, still chasing here is that Gorilla. We have Org with players on the point. Zicto takes one of them down with a pulse bomb. There's the biotic grenade up against the sound barrier of HSL Esports, trying to stagger onto the point. We have Org nonetheless are repelling them every single time. And now it's a 1-to-1 player stagger here. Askov goes down. Now the Sombra Sardis rejoins. They go down. Overtime taken away, but we have Org gets point A.
HSL has been doing everything right so far in these fights and before they even got to that overtime push, but then at the end, the ultimates finally come online for We Have Org. The EMP, huge from Zergi, and already has another one where Sardis doesn't have one from himself, so they can definitely use this EMP proactively and try and just continue to snowball onto this next point.
Yeah, it's going to be big for Hedon to stay outside of the range of the EMP because they have their Transcendence, so doesn't want to be grouped up too much towards some usual targets you know the Sombra is going to be looking for here. Hedon throwing around some words with the Sombra right in the back line there. It's Zergi looking to throw down this EMP, and there it is. The Transcendence, though, does get off from Hedon, trying to keep HSL up, and Askov gets a kill on the Bree. And 6v4 advantage for HSL. They're able to weather the EMP from Zergi, and no kills absolutely at all off that EMP for We Have a Word.
Yeah, EMP not finding the desired targets there, as it looks like they're just going to have to reset. They did force the primal there from Askov, so not a lot of sustain you're going to have on this next fight on that point. But again, We Have Org have to really decide what they want to do here. It looks like they're going to be switching over to a more tank-heavy composition, going to be going Zenyatta Goats here, as they're just going to run onto that point and try and just win that war of attrition that Goats is so well at doing, Rapture.
And now it's going to be a slight fight here for We Have Org, moving up 240. Now it's going to be HSL looking to see what they can do against this high ground advantage here for We Have Org as they continue to push up towards the back. And Zergi trying to get in here, bubbling up the Reinhardt. Still a lot of damage being done just by Askov hanging on the low ground. We Have Org not committing entirely, looking to get rid of Askov, but he gets melted down by half HP here. And now We Have Org putting bodies on the point. There's a self-destruct coming up from above, EMP comboing, but there aren't going to be any kills from either of them. A biotic grenade also goes down. A sound barrier down from Kara now. So We Have Org not only taking no losses, but it's going to be even harder to chew through this health pool and all that armor from the sound barrier. There's a Hedon Transcendence yet again, and that'll keep HSL alive, but they have to weather the storm against a self-destruct. They're unable to do so.
Oh, huge.
Yeah, We Have Org finds 2 off of Sean's Diva self-destruct. They have a huge advantage on the point. Minute and 50 seconds to go. A sliver of point B to retake here as HSL trying to stagger on, but that hamster cannot survive. They don't live very long, Kenobi, unfortunately. And We Have Org will take 2 points.
Yeah, and that was some really good rotation and positioning coming up from We Have Org there. But it looks like we are going to be going to a quick break just in between these maps. So a few technical difficulties we have to iron out, but we'll see you on the other side.
Sorry about that, everyone. Welcome back. Just trying to get our feed synced, and we have done it. We have the technology.
We
We're
have
getting
the
right back in.
technology.
We have it. We got it. Here we
It's
go.
there.
Going
It's the
into
future. The future is
next
now, old man.
round of Volskaya. Yeah, absolutely. We got it going on. So there we go. All right. So now We Have Org. If you just joined us, which probably not the best place because we've already had such a great set between these two teams, but We Have Org did
Yeah, where
get
have you been?
first 2 points of Volskaya with 1 minute and 40 seconds left on the clock. They got through, and HSL was able to repel them a bunch of times through MPs, through a bunch of ultimates, and We Have Org able to get a huge high ground rotation and take point B.
Yeah, the high ground rotation was really good, and I also like that We Have Org was proactive with their switching, understood that their dive wasn't going to be working out against what HSL was bringing to the table, switch over to a more heavy composition, bring out the Zenyatta Goats, and they're able to push their way, just basically bully their way onto the point, take a lot of space for free because you have so much sustain and so much positioning power with a tank-heavy composition like that. So I really like the proactive play coming out from We Have Org, and it ended up getting them 1 minute and 46 seconds. And after the way that they started this map, you definitely would take that if you're We Have Org, Rapture.
Absolutely. We take those, as they say. So. HSL Esports with, all right, so they're moving out with a pretty interesting combination. They have Bree and a 76 along with dive tanks and the Lucio and Zenyatta. So they're rushing right through the left side. They're going to have some crowd control to work with and going for a left side flank here, Kenobi, as we have Org with the Sombra Doomfist combination. No surprise coming out of this team. And now HSL have the high ground on the back right, but We Have Org just going to give it to them, wait it out. They know that once HSL Esports gets a little aggressive, they can be bounced back by Zergi's Doomfist. And now there's the charge in, dive coming in from the Askoff Monkey, jumps in, and the rest of HSL Esports doesn't really go with them.
Ooh,
So We Have Org, yeah, nice biotic grenade there. We Have Org, though, gonna finally contest. Oh, it's going super low as Minda, but they aren't able to confirm the kill. Still a 5v5 situation here as both teams trade. HSL still cramped and knocked down there is Askoff. They're unable to get outside, and they're up against nano boosted Minda, who's keeping them right at the doorway. We Have Org have a pincer maneuver here on HSL Esports, who are struggling to get back towards spawn. Now that they're run away from the Self-Destruct, they're not able to do so. Mono goes down, but still HSL Esports stalwart here. They're going to keep going, determined to continue to put pressure on the point despite these losses. And We Have Org say, all right, why not? We'll continue to feed ult charge off you. Biotic grenade again there from Konga. HSL Esports gets melted as a result. Tech 36 gonna fall back, lose their mech, gets put down. Zik has a visor, but tries to run away from Primal Rage in an instant, and will be able to do so. But HSL Esports taking a lot of losses and wasting a lot of time on that push.
Yeah, and Zik here does have the visor, so if he wants to play it aggressively, they could just go in. I don't think there is right now, so he could just use it, but he's just gonna wait a little bit longer, might just keep it for this next fight. That's gonna happen right now, Rapture.
Yep. Oh, and Zik's super low here, but now halfway. Oh, sees the
huge
Sombra, but the EMP goes down right in front of the face, and Hedon goes down as well. HSL looking for some cover, hiding behind their tanks in there, and a self-destruct comes up to the Diva without confirmed kills where they're down there. Diva won't get anything, but the sound barrier allowing that Diva to get back into the cockpit. Now Zergi with the Meteor Strike, looking for the 76 and crushes them down. Almost taking the kill stolen. Shot from above. Gets the 2.5. Not going to be outdone with yet another double kill self-destruct coming out from We Have Org's Diva. And HSL Esports shut down yet again.
Zergi going absolutely huge there on that Doomfist. Was about at slivers of health when he was on, and the tag visor was there, but he Meteor Striked and down Zergi, or found the soldier from Zeke there and was able to get him out of the fight early. And after that, Shampi again with these huge bombs have been absolutely massive. And now it's going to force Zeke to go over to him, create something a little bit more bursty here to try and deal with that Sombra, who's been wrecking havoc to their backline.
Yeah, but this is right now kind of a scramble here. HSL's trying to find a key to the door here. We Have Org looking for ways in. Oh, but they're taken back. The Doomfist gets a Discord Orb, and then we're taken out by Tech 36. There's a Transcendence from Hedon, and We Have Org is forced back into the big health pack room, and Pile drove on, but Askoff, now as the Primary is going to continue to push that back. We Have Org struggling to stay alive. They're going to use their Hem and Minda to create some space so the rest of We Have Org can get out from inside this building. The HSL Esports is just going to chase him right down. Self-destruct will keep this Diva alive, but Shampi unable to get anything off of that one. Talk 76 at 66% on their self-destruct, and gets the kill on the Doomfist. HSL Esports with not only the player advantage, but the point advantage. They have 4 players on this point. We Have Org has been reduced to dust, and HSL Esports takes point A with just under 30 seconds remaining.
And there you're seeing the value of the McCree there. It looked like Minden was going to get a huge 6-man pile driver, but the McCree stuns him in mid-air and then turns around, hits Zerg discorded with his 6-shooter, and is able to take him out of the fight. And then after that, you continue to snowball since the respawns are in your favor. And now We Have Org is going to bad situation, but the EMP is huge, Rapture.
Yeah, you can see how aggressive Minden was playing there to give Spox the room to throw down the EMP. They get 2 kills off of it. It's the only ultimate We Have Org needs to build for those 2 kills, and they're going to reduce even more time off the clock for HSL by playing aggressive towards the spawn of HSL. We Have Org holding on to ultimates, and the point going to stop that snowball for now.
Yeah, great ult patience there. I mean, sometimes you'll see players who, once they see that EMP, just pop everything at once to try and just team kill win the team fight with the team kill. But there, they just understood that we have the DPS and the follow-up off of this EMP to win the fight just vanilla off that EMP. They keep their stall ultimates, they keep the sound barrier, and they keep as well as Zergi's meteor strike.
Like still on the high noon. This is, a hard part of the map to really get a good shot off here on offense on the high noon. And unable to really even stun the Hammond there, trying to figure out a way in. They're going to use the Transcendence to push through the choke point, and then a self-destruct from Tech 36 into the backline, but we have Org not going to get fooled and continue to work their way in here. Now there's an nano-boosted Doomfist. Card does go down after they use the sound barrier. Zergi trying to look for more, can't get anything. Spox goes down before they're able to get the EMP, and HSL gonna continue to put pressure on the payload here, but we have Orcs still have their Doomfist alive. Zergi gonna continue to force the tanks away from HSL, but HSL, they just pick different targets, and now they've drawn more attention from Zergi. Who's this corridor? Ask it out of dodge. Askov pops the Primal Rage. 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining, but HSL has no more ultimates to use while we have Orc has the EMP. They gotta keep their Sombra alive. No, Spox goes down, and that's all they have. Now it's an opportunity for HSL to push him as a car gets on, and D-Max Tech, that's huge. You gotta get rid of these other tanks though, and the Hammond's gonna help out. Mono though, getting low. Zergi chasing down the Lucio, and Sargent steals away their soul. 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. We have Orc still at the MP, and there it is. It hits 3 of HSL, but the kills are not coming immediately. Instead, Tech 36 gets one on Minda. Now there's a trade, 5v5. The Sombra goes down. Zik finds him with the right click. HSL with the slight player advantage. Sargent gets stunned, and looks like Doomfist in the corner. Oh, just in time, uses the meteor strike. But Zergi has a meteor strike of their own. Have to watch out for that one. Sound Bear comes out from Car just in time. It looks like we have Orcs should be able to get the reinforcements in, but the front line of HSL is still strong, and they're pushing up. There's the May Ice Field to cut things off, but HSL just clubs it together and smartly doesn't play greedy. Here's a self-destruct out from the corner, though, from the point, and not going to get much. Transcendence waiting there to respond. Sardis gets one on Sean P. Doomfist up on the Sombra, joining the Sombra, that is. Self-destruct from above, looking for anyone who can't take cover, and it's who can't get away from there, and Spox was halfway to an EMP. HSL Esports, they have 4 players killed for we have Org. HSL 2/3 of point B taken, 1 minute and 22 seconds. We have Org trying to stagger on here with their tanks, but Shoppy is nowhere near a self-destruct to sustain on the point. HSL a sliver left the point B remaining. We have Org trying to stay alive, but they're getting decimated by that silverback gorilla, and HSL Esports will take the 2 points on Volskaya as well.
Really good target selection from HSL there in those last fights. It was so hectic, but again, look at the time that we got from there. HSL Esports started that fight with about 3 left, and you somehow ended up at 113. An excellent stall coming out from We Have Oregon. It looked like for a couple of minutes there, or a couple of seconds rather, that they were going to be able to. It was a couple of minutes. It looked like they were going to be able to hold them off, but HSL was able to bring it back and get their target selection on point, getting the important people out of the fight early. The May, making her that she's not as big an issue, keeping those cooldowns so that you can't have the Hammond just spin to win on the point and just absolutely demolish your team. So really good job from HSL to end up getting that point, because it did look a little bit dire in those situations. And now on the defense coming out from We Have Org, they're going to be going back with what they're comfortable with. The Sombra Doomfist dive, just all the disruption into that back line, the horror simulator, as I like to call it, for supports from on HSL.
Yeah, it's like Night of the Living Dead out here. You're on the railgun arcade game, and HSL just keeps popping up around
you have to hit the pedal. You have to hit the pedal so that you go back into cover.
Reload. Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. You got to reload by pointing off the screen. You're right. I haven't played one of those in a while. And House of the Dead, great games. HSL Esports though, it's definitely looking scary out here for them. As we have Org with a slight time advantage, but the comps. Look at, I mean, Zik. I'm not entirely sure how long they'll be able to survive on this McCree. Remember, it's not the live patch. They don't have that 6-second cooldown tactical. It's 8 seconds. And that can make a big difference against these diving tanks, against the Doomfist, against the Sombra. So, but it's on defense. We'll see. Can HSL get some leverage up against We Have Org and push in? And already, first blood from Hidon takes out the Ana. A big one there. They don't have to worry about those biotic graves from Konga. They've been hitting all set. A 6v4 advantage here. We Have Org also losing their diva. They're going to give this up almost without a fight here. And HSL just going to casually walk up on the point A and take it. Why not?
And you talk about here, Naori mentioned it on the desk. You talk about people carrying fights. That one was carried almost entirely by Hedon. Getting that right click onto Conga, and then with the Discord placements, just absolutely chef's kiss. He's been absolutely stellar so far in this matchup, and it's going to lead them to have a 55-second chance to get this last point. They're going to be switching over to a more heavy composition here with the Rein Zarya, much more sustained, and it's just a GOATS composition here that they're going to be trying to run onto this last point. But we have Org switching up, bringing out this Hammond, a little bit more disruption into their tank.
Yeah, I like that Sean P has already gone over to the Wrecking Ball, knowing that they're probably going to be in a situation they're going to need it. Why not just pick it now? Look at that pile drive, the air. HSL Esports got Tony Hawk Pro Skater out here. It's crazy air. HSL stopped in their tracks by that pile drive from Sean P. And we have Org going to push that grind, get some more ult charge. Zergy at super high charge in the Zarya, 96, and get it on their way to a Graviton. Conga though with a double kill, sniping people, showing Heat on how it's done. And we have Oregon to repel HSL back to spawn.
Yeah, they're just going to go all the way to spawn with 5 seconds. You might not be able to get on the point. They're going to bring out the Hammond just to try, but its clock is ticking down and they're not going to be able to make it. HSL aren't going to be able to get that last point, and the win condition is set here for We Have Org. Get to that last point and get one tick, and you will take a 3-0 victory with the 4th map in tow.
Yeah, I mean, again, honestly, I feel like the scoreline just doesn't do this set justice. Really, HSL is putting up quite a fight against We Have Org, but We Have Org almost like a super team of Tier 3 European Overwatch right now. Just
almost they are that it's you can go ahead and call it that. We should call it, we should coin that before other people coin that. They are the super team of Tier 3 Overwatch.
I patent it for sure. This guy's
TM.
And so right now we have Org setting themselves up for success. So this is of course a multi-week competition here for Contenders trials, but We Have Org are one of the Contenders bottom 4, right? So this HSL coming from the top 4 of open division, but there's still a lot more matches in this for both teams, but this is really where things kind of set the tone.
Yeah, and We Have Org, it looks like they're going to be running maybe a tankier composition, but on HSL, going to be going back to dive. We're seeing a lot of dive from both of these teams, and Zeke was playing Widow earlier in this matchup, didn't do too much, wasn't really on the kill feed as much as you usually like to see your Widows. It was a lot of Sardis doing the job with Mono, but We Have Org going to be running a GOATS composition with Zenyatta, classic Zen GOATS here. They're just going to try and bully their way onto the point with 1 minute and 46 seconds, get those ultimates quickly, and then just roll to that second point.
And we have Org, 1 minute and 39 seconds on the clock, but they'll have Zik on the Widowmaker. We haven't seen much Widowmaker at all in this set. And to burst it out on defense, point A full sky, definitely something they're trying to catch We Have Org with off guard. But We Have Org is going to just go right into the backline. They're going to rotate, put HSL in the offensive position here, and just take control of the point. They're going to walk right on, forcing Astop up to the high ground, make them burn their jetpacks, so they know they have a little more time to work with. Meanwhile, they have to find this Widowmaker. Oh, and Zik gets booped off, forced to use the grapple, gets super low, 17 HP, but kept alive by Hedon. Great play there, while Tech 36 steals the kill on Conga. Zik still alive. HSL Esports looking for a way in on We Have Org. They got to deal with Karo just skating right in, zoop to whoop. But Zik is able to stay alive. The baby diva also giving Zik a little bit of trouble here at the watch out. They're going to about to build up another mech. There we go. Zek will take their head off, clean off their shoulders. And We Have Org now 45 seconds left on the clock.
And that just proves how much of a game of inches Overwatch is. I mean, it looked like Chompy was being able to get the kill onto Widow, but Zeke just managed to live barely, and then Chompy was put on a mech, and the rest of his team died behind him. And with 30 seconds Rapture, they don't have a lot of ultimates to their name from We Have Org. Midna's Earthshatter is going to be the only thing they most likely have going into this next fight. Zergy's going to try his best to farm it the fast he can, but this is last fight territory for We Have Org.
HSL Esports just got a bunch of ultimates, 3 right there. So it's about to get EMP as well. And they have the tools to stop We Have Org, who don't have any ultimates at all as they push up to yet another high ground push. But Zik goes down early. Conga snipes it with a headshot.
EMP.
From behind with the EMP, and they're nano boosted. Askov gets 2, and Sutter's looking for more, jumps right down. Askov steals the kill. We Have Org, though. They barely have any players left alive, and overtime's already ticking away. There's also a try incentive. There's almost no way for We Have Org able to chew through that one. HSL looks like they'll finally get on the board in this set. We're going to a map 4 here, and the set won't be over. Kenobi, overtime ticking away. We Have Org trying to sustain, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Sardis will, the Ascot will take out Spox. Transcendence comes down, but Conga can't get there in time. Hooped back, and HSL finally gets the board. It's a 2-1 series.
HSL making a game of it there, and I have to tip my hat to Sardis there in that last fight. Hit the huge EMP, and then with the Nano, was able to burst down the rest of the team from We Have Org, and that was just the alt economy advantage that they had for that map, and they did a really good job. It looked dire for them after they lost that first point at just the last second, and now they have that one game in their pocket. Gonna be looking for the reverse sweep here, Rapture.
Yep, we are now in a situation where that can actually happen. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, map 4 of this set between We Have Org and HSL Esports will be coming your way. Welcome back, Overwatchers. It's time for map 4 between HSL Esports and We Have Org. We are in a possible reverse sweep situation as HSL Esports just took map 3. And as they move on to Rialto, if they win another one, we'll go to a tiebreaker in this best of 5 here in Contenders Trials Europe Season 3 2018. The coverage brought to you by Broadcast.gg. I am Rapture here with Kenobi. Kenobi, we're going to Rialto. You ready to get into this one?
Definitely ready to get into this one. It looks like HSL is ready. We saw hints of this quad tank earlier in the matchup on Ilios, and now we're going to be seeing it here on Rialto. And it looks like they're just going to try and play aggressive and just bulldoze the enemy team of We Have Org.
Yep. We Have Org in the red. They're going to be on offense first, and they're changing things up as they can see what the defense is running literally right outside of their door. So HSL Esports already showing their hand before the map's really even gotten started here, Kenobi, and We Have Org adjusting as they have a completely tanked composition and going to the high ground. So they're gonna make HSL's valuable ground worthless now. We Have Org gonna jump down, dive right on from above, frog splash onto HSL Esports, but HSL gets on the board first. Zik finds the Reinhardt Minda, and now We Have Org scrambling for kills. They lose another one. Charge out from Askov as they're looking to regain control of the payload. The kills have gone the way of HSL. They get 2. We Have Org reset another 2, and that's a fight win for HSL Esports in about 50 seconds, taking off the clock for We Have Org.
And there you see the value of the Roadhog in these type of compositions. You pull Midna off the high ground, and then you're able to jump on him and bring him down and force cooldowns out of We Have Org. And now HSL have a lot of ultimates coming up for them. They have the Coalescence and they have the Shatter. Zardes here maybe looking for a hook to try and get an environmental kill.
Stun to keep the Reinhardt off. Charged in. Oh, almost booped off there is IDXD. Now a charge gets stunned again. Slept on top is Tech. A ton of crowd control from HSL Esports, and it hits pay dirt almost every time. 2 kills there, and We Have Org having trouble getting over the bridge, though they built up 3 ults and almost another few in the meantime.
Yeah, they have ultimates to their name, but again, Zeke has this Graviton, and he can maybe use it to try and get some environmental kills, or just use it to secure 6 people in that Graviton on this bridge, and then just use the follow-up. But it looks like they're just going to be waiting as the rally comes out right now, and it looks like the fight's happening, Rapture, but it got eaten, the grab!
Got eaten, 4 to 5. Doctors say to eat your Gravitons every day, and then there's 3 from Sodp, 3.5. Oh, and another kill and another kill!
Oh.
Sodp just steamrolls HSL Esports, giving them their daily dose of Sodp. We Have Org finally get over the bridge, and now they have 1 minute and 55 seconds left on the clock.
Eat your vitamins, kids, and then you'll end up to grow up like Champy. Champy there doing everything in that last fight, eating the grab, getting the huge self-destruct, and then getting those 2 both kills in the end. It was just his name in the kill feed time and time again, and now it looks like We Have Org is just going to start running at them. Huge shatter coming out from Midna. This is the We Have Org that we like to see, Rapture.
Yeah, totally worth it. Gets 2, and Askov gets greedy, sacrifices himself to the Overwatch gods, sacrifices himself to Jeff Kaplan. He then also goes down. We Have Org not only winning another fight, but they come out of it ultimate positive. They have 2, and they're about to get another one. Sean P is on their way to get another self-destruct.
Yeah, Champy, it looks like they're going to try and recontest here from the side of HSL. They have the sound barrier to do so, but Shatter is blocked, though. The Coalescence coming out. It looks like it's just a brawl on this fight. We'll see what happens if this self-destruct comes out here, Rapture.
Oh, but another self-destruct from Sean P again. Not going to find Pater. Tech 36 doesn't find it either, but it
oh, the huge anti.
Yeah, great anti-grenade there. And that's going to keep HSL away. Conga just throwing it down, hitting a super majority of HSL Esports players with that biotic grenade. And that makes some mincemeat, and We Have Org just eats him up.
That was huge from Conga there. I mean, the Kobe anti, basically from downtown, getting 5 people in that purple, and then the rest of the team was able to just rush onto them. No healing available for them, and now we're going to continue to push with a good amount of their name. They have this Graviton, and they have that are definitely ultimates that can win fights before they even start Rapture.
Oh, and we'll see. Minda probably gonna look to bait Askov's shield here so they get this Earth Shatter down. But We Have Org deciding, all right, we're just gonna fall back. They lose their Reinhardt as a result in this retreating maneuver. HSL Esports gonna try and pick up the stragglers, but We Have Org not giving them much to work with. Car's gonna be the last one out, but they just catapult across the bridge, and it's another reset.
Minute going a little bit too aggressive there, unfortunately, and the collapse was good from HSL. And now it looks like we're going to have another fight on one of these bridges. It's going to be interesting to see if this stun can come out from IDXD so that the shatter can come in from Midna.
Oh,
But another
Graviton got eaten! Another Graviton got eaten! We have Org now trying to go over. Oh, they got knocked off! And he was about to use his Earth Shatter. He takes a swim instead. Zergy now falling back with the rest of We Have Org. HSL Esports stuns We Have Org yet again.
Reinhardt didn't expect to go swimming, didn't bring his trunks in that full suit of armor. It's like Fallout where you just sink to the bottom. Really good boop there from Mono. And with wasting the Graviton and the Shatter there, you don't have any ults to continue to push this. And Zeke has a Graviton of his own.
You can't be throwing on Graviton. The defense mage is literally waiting right there for you. Now, a minute and 42 seconds on the clock. Another boop.
Oh my god.
Mono just reacquainting them with the sea. There's a self-destruct on the payload. That gets blocked there easily by Ashkoff. And HSL Esports forcing We Have Org to reset again under the minute and 30-second mark.
I mean, Mono, it's Midna just can't walk through this bridge right now. Mono has a tracker on him every single time. If Midna walks up on this Reinhardt, I'm going to boop him off the map. And when you lose that Reinhardt, you lose all that shielding. And now it looks like they're going to go in with this Hammond pick, Rapture.
With the self-destruct coming out against them from Tech 36, there's a Transcendence waiting and a Graviton as well. A charge. Oh, Hammond goes right in. Oh, the Reinhardt, Ashkoff going onto the boat. Again on the boat, still staying alive. I'm not sure if they have their boating license. We'll find. Oh no!
Oh, he's down.
Kara's like, all right.
He doesn't have it. It's expired.
If you're hanging out around the boats that long, you're asking for it. The third time's finally the charm. The Reinhardt goes in, and of course you're gonna sink like a rock in that armor. 45 seconds now for We Have Org.
And I really like that Hammond pick that we see coming out from Sean P there. Already to an ultimate already and getting so much value with that pile driver and just staying in there, winning that war of attrition. And Kara finally coming up big with his own boops of his own, gives Mono a little bit of a taste of his own medicine, booping Mono into the river himself. And now another fight is brewing here as the pile driver minefield might come in, Rapture.
And Zig's about to have Graviton here. It's certainly going to be up. Well, We Have Org doesn't have a Diva to eat that now. Earth Shatter comes down. Now, oh, another Earth Shatter, but that's blocked. And now a Graviton thrown in. And that's going to be We Have Org getting melted on the tail end of that. They lose 3. Another Graviton, but a Transcendence also along with that. But HSL's not going down. We Have Org unable to do enough damage to eat through these ultimates. And despite having the Graviton set them up for kills, they can't get any. There's a self-destruct that comes down. And round 1 completes. We didn't even get to see halfway through Rialto. There's so much sightseeing to do here, Kenobi. We didn't even get to see more than halfway through the map. And We Have Org shut down before they can even get to the third phase.
Yeah, and I mean, what a map we just saw there. It looked like so back and forth. I mean, it looked like at the start that it was just HSL bodying completely We Have Org at the start of their map, but then We Have Org came back with their ultimates. And now, halfway through point 2 rather, you have a lot of time for HSL to get to that point and take this to a map 5, something we probably didn't expect after seeing those first 2 games with the way We Have Org has been playing. And We Have Org going to be running a little bit more of a divey composition, something they seem more comfortable with. Their goats did look very good, but there was something that was there from HSL. Those boops coming out from Mono, absolutely huge. Losing that Reinhardt not once, but twice on that bridge. Once when he was in mid-Earth Shatter. So that's double the value, double the fun coming out from Mono.
Yeah, and then Mono getting booped themselves when they had just used the sound barrier. I mean, this has just been crazy. It's so scary to be fighting on that bridge, and both teams, nevertheless, not hesitating to throw fists, to throw hands. So now, 40 seconds on the clock. Slight changes here. What do you think about this composition for HS? I mean, it's going to be on offense, so We Have Org. They're going to run the Sombra and Doomfist. It's not really surprising.
Yeah, We Have Org. This seems like their comfort pick, and it's something that we're going to have to look out for throughout this open division or this Contenders Trials run here. Is just this dive with Sombra Doomfist. And Sombra Doomfist, I mentioned it before, just so much disruption available to you. If they're expecting goats here, Sombra and Doomfist does a really good job of countering that. You can get the boops with that Doomfist, and even now on Rialto, you have the ability to get those boops and have those turn into environmental kills. And IDXD just on that Sombra with that hack ability, always a decent pick in this meta. So I'm definitely interested to see how they're going to be playing this against what HSL is bringing out, which looks like to be a pharmacy.
Yeah, they're going to go and just get control of the sky, not going to deal with crowd control on the ground, just ignore it and, take air superiority. So all HSL Esports needs to do is get to that golden checkpoint VIP box halfway through the map, and we'll be going to a tiebreaker map 5 for a possible reverse sweep for HSL Esports. That would be huge as We Have Org went up 2-0 the beginning of this set. And now HSL Esports already with an advantage. They push up on offense. Stardust doing a lot of work on this far, and they're uncontested for this entire time, doing damage, putting pressure on Zergy, so Zergy can't really dive in very well, while Zik is just building a lot of ult charge for this EMP, and once that lands, it's going to be huge. Conga though with another biotic grenade, going to stuff HSL for the time being, but because they have this far, who didn't get hit by the biotic grenade, they can still put pressure on the payload. We have Borg though, will finally get a kill on Askov thanks to Zergy on the Doomfist, and it will be a minute shoot away here for HSL, but there's no rush here, Kenobi, for the blue squad.
Yeah, Conga is doing a really good job, especially against this pharmacy, and he's putting a lot of pressure onto Sardis, really the only one on We Have Orc who can do that. So Conga doing a really good job of rotating between healing and doing damage to that Pharah, putting pressure onto Sardis and killing him through a pharmacy, Rapture.
And then the kills coming through finally for We Have Org. Zergy should be able to get the kill on Askov. Indeed, they do. So We Have Org comes out with the fight win, but they've lost about halfway to that checkpoint. That's being said, they have a couple ultimates.
Yeah, they do have a couple ultimates. Sardis here still uncontested really on this Pharah. Just again, Conga really the only one who can put any pressure onto him, but they have the nano boost if they want to use it against Lee, and Zeke here on this Sombra could be huge with another EMP.
Oh, and the Doomfist though, Zergy has to be careful. Doesn't want to go down before the fight really breaks out. And Conga's still alive, has the nano boost. Zik dies though before they can use their EMP, and IDXD just got theirs. Zergy with the meteor strike onto the Ana, and that'll be HSL forced to reset. We have work not giving HSL any room to work with.
Zergy sends Askoft into the drink there, and it looks like they're going to be making some swatches. Maybe not some swaps coming out from HSL. They're just going to wait. A 6-pack of ultimates available for them in this next fight. We're going to see how they use it, but again, IDXD has this EMP, and EMP is the one counter to all those ultimates. Having the ability to silence an entire enemy team, has to be very careful on how he wants to use it, Rapture.
And if the second Sombra can stay out of the range of the first EMP and then get theirs off, that could be enough to win the fight entirely. But Sardis has the barrage. Might be looking for some quick kills before things get going. Nano boost throws down. Zig with the EMP. Tech 36 finds the Doomfist. Another EMP thrown up by IDXD, but everyone is separated off the point. Now we have a Primal ranging Winston mid. Askop's waiting on theirs. Now it's self-destruct through mid, looking for anyone who can't get the cover, and Hedon didn't even see it coming. It was on the other side of the corner. Now we have Org trying to get back onto the payload, but they only have the Sombra and the Lucio to do so. Self-destruct from above, a barrage also as well. Sardis gets one. The self-destruct doesn't get anything. Sean P is a quarter of the way to theirs. Now Sardis pushing up, still in control of the high ground, but the Doomfist at least lets them know they have their attention. Nevertheless, the Doomfist is going to run away there. There will be Zergy looking for other kills, and We Have Org in control. Despite Stardust's damage, they don't have any presence on the payload, so they can't stop We Have Org from retaking control.
There is no answer right now to Zergy on this Doomfist. He's going in, getting those one-tap Doomfist punches, and then getting out like that. There's nothing really to counter him besides that Sombra, and now HSL is finally going to start to deal with it. They're going to be switching over to the Brigitte and the McCree, give you that CC ability to make sure that Zergy just can't go into the back line unmitigated here. But with 25 seconds left, Rapture, this is last fight territory here.
Yeah, this is a much better, I think, opportunity here. Zik more burst damage, Sardis more crowd control. HSL wasn't doing enough damage to break through We Have Org. Zergy breaking through, gets slept in. Biotic grenaded there by Hedon. Shut down immediately, no kills off that meteor strike despite even with the whiff. Now it's self-destruct from above. Sean P's gonna respond with their own. They don't want to get caught out. Sean P from above. Self-destruct doesn't land either. 2 self-destruct, no kills. Overtime taken away. There's the EMP. We're waiting for IDXD. Stars are so low, but they get healed right back up. They need that crowd control, but another biotic grenade from Conga. We have Org shutting HSL down one by one, and HSL doesn't have any tanks remaining on the point except Askov, who's trying to get on there, but they're battered back every single time they take a step forward. 1 step forward, 2 steps back for HSL, and We Have Org will take this third and this fourth map here for a 3-1 victory. It's We Have Org for their first Contenders Trials win here in Season 3, 2018.
Taking it with a full hold on Rialto there. Really, really excellent play coming out, especially from Conga. Against a pharmacy, you have to make a lot of tough decisions on whether you want to be healing your team or whether you want to be pressuring the pharmacy. And he had just the right amount of style choosing between the two. He would sometimes be pressuring and then go after healing his tanks, hitting those huge antis. So Conga really stepping up in a situation that for most Annas is definitely very difficult to play against when that pharmacy is just barraging you and belting you with rockets every single time.
Yeah, and We Have Org able to sustain against those last-minute changes against HSL, but there's so much more to talk about. We got to throw it to the desk. It was a 3-1 victory for We Have Org, and now it's time to break it down. Take it away.
So it's the big 3-1, not quite the 4-0 we saw in our first game, but I want to focus on that one for a second there, where we saw HSL play pretty damn well in Volskaya. I wanted to speak to you both about what was it that HSL were doing? Did they change something up, or was it just like, what was the change that went on that allowed them to take that?
I think one of the coolest things is it's a tale of two different teams throughout the start and end of the series. We talked about Ilios and how we have Org a lot cleaner, a lot more clinical in their execution. No longer to be found on Volskaya. Really scrappy, really brawl-esque type of play. You were playing that composition, that tank composition, of course, later on throughout the map. So they were really going at it that way. They played more into HSL style, in fact. So I think we have Org kind of changed up some of their play styles for the worst. They sort of fell away from their own plan into what HSL was running, and then kind of brought it back on Rialto, which we saw much cleaner defense, at least defensively, much cleaner defensively than perhaps was on attack. So we have Org. They start off their season with a win, and that's good for them so far, though.
Yeah,
Nari-
I'll agree with that. Sorry, you.
I was, you go.
I just wanted to point out the other thing for their attack on Volskaya. It seemed like when they were running that Genji Sombra dive, they were really struggling, and that's when they only managed to take the point into overtime. But when they swapped it up to a 3-3 composition, moving on to the second point, they got it a lot faster. So on top, it seemed like they were trying to play in a game that wasn't their own on the first point. When they realized that wasn't working, they swapped it up, and then they did a bit better. But obviously, HSL already had the upper hand, so they weren't able to bring it through. So HSL doing really well on that map.
Nari, I want to hark back a little bit to something that I was talking about in the halftime segment that we did, where we were speaking about how important the support play coming out from both of the teams was, and you were commenting a lot in these two maps about the two Lucios on either side.
Yeah, so Kara and Mono, the thing that impressed me so much about these two Lucios was whenever there was an EMP, the Lucio was like just outside of that EMP. Every single time. It was ridiculous. It's like they have a sixth sense for when EMP is coming, because you don't know. Sombra isn't on hero, you can't see her. Suddenly she pops up in your team and she EMPs. And somehow, consistently, those two Lucios were not in the EMP. Then quickly speed boost back into team, break it down, drop that beat, and your team manages to survive through the damage that is being put onto you while you have absolutely no cooldowns. So I was blown away by these two Lucios and how they managed to do that. Because for a Lucio, you need to be somewhat in your team because of your aura healing. That's how that works. But for them to consistently be just out of reach of the EMP is phenomenal. These maps have seriously been support games through and through. I really feel like the supports have shone much brighter than what you would expect from a support. So awesome.
They very much have. And I mean, speaking of supports, let's talk about Askol for a little bit, because he was or is the main support for HSL, but he's been playing on main tank for us today. How has he been shining through on that? Has he been living up to what he perhaps should, going against Midna as the main tank for We Have Org? How has that been faring?
Interestingly, I think main tank was possibly the least impactful role today. Or, okay, that's not the best way of putting it, but perhaps they were the least, they had the least amount of time in the spotlight in terms of the amount of work they were able to do compared to the remainder of their team. They were quietly unassuming. They did what they needed to do. They weren't committing any major mistakes. This goes for both teams. They weren't the highlight of the night. There were some good plays, through and through, but realistically, I think they did just enough to not be a detriment to their team, which, for HSL is a great thing because that's not your main tank player. For We Have Org, I'm not necessarily sure that's the best, bringing that up is the best thing. So, yes, it was serviceable tank play relative to what we expect.
Well, at the beginning of this series, before we'd seen anything, one of the big things we're talking about is how unpredictable it's going to be going into this series, because these rosters, they were super shaken up. We didn't know what to expect. Going forward from here, what do we think we can expect to see to come out from both of these two teams now that we have an idea of the sort of things they play and their styles?
Well, we do know that already on one of the teams they had a sub in today. their main tank in Progi. But I feel like we've gotten a pretty damn good idea of what these teams can do. They are both, I mean, these maps were neck and neck most of the time. They both put in so much work. The synergy, especially on We Have Org, we touched on it earlier in the segment, like, really impressive to see a team that should be a little bit more discombobulated shining so well. HSL as well, you know, the first two maps are a little bit iffy, came through on the third map with massive strength. Fourth map is they did really well compared to the first two maps. So I think they just needed to hit their stride. I think that both teams have kind of hit the ground running here, and going forward, I'm expecting a lot of great things from these guys. Their players are top notch, and it's just the fine tuning. Once they get that down, this is going to be a fantastic trial series.
The fun.
I think I'm going to build on that, except go slightly downer on the end of it. I think We Have Org have an opportunity here to go through trials and provide some, excitement for us as the viewers, as well as trying to prove themselves. But they don't have a lot of time. Trials is not very long. They have to be quick about making sure that they are there as a team, as a cohesive unit. Now, HSL, it is a beating for them on the first map or on the first set, but they do need to come back and try and bring themselves into, more a better showing forward. We Have Org definitely, though, setting themselves a great start. That's what you hope for on day one, of victory. And as dominant at perhaps dropping Volsky is not what they want, but otherwise a fairly good showing for them score-wise.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see how things do turn out. It's been a really exciting, very interesting first day of EU Contenders Trials. But for now, we're going to have to leave it there. We will be back tomorrow with more. Congratulations to British Hurricane and We Have Org as our winning teams of the day. Thank you from Kenobi and Rapture, our casters, from Nari and Lafon, our analysts, and from me, your host, Gio. And we will see you tomorrow for more Overwatch.